John McEnroe here. Instant takeaways from day one of Detroit Lions training camp. Boots on the ground. I was there. It's another year 7 for myself, reporting from Allen Park, the team's performance center. Lots to get into. Even though it's day one, big news from Dan Campbell, Levi Onwuzurike, the talented defensive lineman, former second round 2021 draft pick, not going to be part of the Detroit Lions 2025 season. Out for the year with an ACL injury. We're going to get more into that in depth in future podcasts and who's going to step up. But right away, what we saw, Tyleik Williams right away playing next to DJ Reader, and the rookie acclimated himself well, got into the backfield a little bit, showcased why the team really felt like he could develop quickly. And so one of my biggest takeaways was the impact of the first and second round picks for the Detroit Lions in 2025, supremely important. Tate Ratledge out there took the majority. I did not see a first team rep with a different center other than Tate Ratledge. So that indicates that most likely the team believes that he can play and acclimate quickly to become the team's starting center. Doesn't look like a battle at all. Have not seen any indication yet that would lead me to believe that Tate Ratledge is going to succumb or give up a significant portion of reps to Graham Glasgow. We had an opportunity to see how it looked, and without Taylor Decker, you had Dan Skipper out there on the left side in first team reps, playing alongside Christian Mahogany at left guard. Then you had Tate Ratledge at center. You had Graham Glasgow at right guard. And then naturally, you would presume, because that's where Mahogany excelled, at left guard. So you would presume that if the starter is going to be Graham Glasgow, might end up being on the right side at right guard, and then was also next to Penei Sewell. So that was a very interesting starting rotation. And then you got a chance to see, we had a chance to see Kingsley Eguakun at center. At left tackle, we got a chance to see a little bit more of Giovanni Manu. And you recognize he trimmed down a little bit, I think, to be able to anchor better and to be able to maybe push off a little bit smoother. And so he looked comfortable out there, looked a little bit like a player that, okay, he's going to be having an opportunity to get some more reps and to compete all throughout training camp. It's going to be a big training camp for Giovanni Manu. And so who stood out? Well, pretty clearly it was, I thought, Kyle Allen. I thought that just looking at one of the first battles that you're going to see is the backup quarterback spot, and taking the second team reps primarily was Kyle Allen, and he zipped the ball. Looked like he had a little bit more control than he did in the spring, and it looks like he's going to give Hendon Hooker all that he asked for in this training camp battle. Hendon Hooker started the day and throughout the first practice was the third string quarterback. And unfortunately, you just saw more of the same. Some snaps where he looks the part, gets the ball out there, zips it. Others where he holds on to the ball too long in team periods in 7-on-7. And the defense, naturally, the more time you give them, the more opportunities they're going to have to swat the football away. So it's going to be a battle to watch. Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen might be closer than people think already at the start of training camp. A player that I think is going to have a chance legitimately to be a camp darling is Ian Kennelly. Had a chance to see him make a great play that got his teammates all riled up. Even though he's on the third string, I do think that if he continues to make plays, will find himself maybe potentially moving up and having opportunities to play alongside maybe even Dan Jackson on the second team. So we'll see the progression of a young rookie, undrafted free agent, local product that is making noise. So it's good to see. Good to see Isaac TeSlaa out there working with Jared Goff. You recognize, okay, Goff, up and down day, but had some connections. Clearly, always has connections with Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. A camp battle to watch all throughout is going to be DJ Reed against Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look, naturally speaking, St. Brown's going to find weak spots in every defense, including the Lions, and he was definitely already in midseason form, highlighting what he can do in route running, getting in front of DJ Reed and winning some battles. But also, too, DJ Reed had back-to-back pass breakups and looked competitive as well. Thought one of the best plays of the day was a completed pass to Tim Patrick. Looked good, and the possession receiver, I think that most people really value due to being sure-handed, I think is a player that many people are going to value and respect. So some names to watch. Unfortunately, injury bug still biting this team, which is still a battle to get this team to have a practice without an injury. But Ennis Rakestraw leaves with an apparent chest injury after a collision at practice, left with the trainer. So who stepped up? Rock Ya-Sin. He stepped up and made some plays and made himself get his name and number written down in most reporters' notebooks. So pay attention to him as well. I thought that a player to pay attention to as well as Pat O'Connor. I think that he started to emerge steadily last year, and if he has an opportunity on the edge to make some plays and to maneuver around the interior of the defensive line, going to be key. I think to have more depth with the defensive line, if a player like Pat O'Connor can step up, it's going to be very fascinating to watch. Got a chance to see Ahmed Hassanin out there as well in the second team, just a couple reps. Looks fluid, strong, up and down. Some plays right there where it needs to be. Some plays getting outworked and battling some talented offensive linemen. So you look at practice. It was short 90-minute practice. The pads are going to come on next week, but a lot of team periods, a lot of 7-on-7 where you get a chance to see how these matchups are going to look. It's good to see for the first time in their new numbers, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams, Terrion Arnold making plays and doing things. So you hope that throughout training camp, one of the things that you got to hope for this team is that they stay healthy. You hope that they're able to put together a training camp where they're able to handle business. And then the final takeaway is not being described as a hold-in, but real interesting. If a player aces his conditioning test, why isn't he practicing? Minor injuries here and there, but wasn't put on an injury list. So it's just one of those deals where Dan Campbell says, I refuse to believe it's a hold-in. And maybe it's one of those non-spoken deals where Alex Anzalone is going to heal right up and feel great the moment his new contract comes in. But I don't think he'll be a distraction. He did report. He did go through the conditioning test, aced it, according to Dan Campbell. So I do think maybe there will be further questioning, like, okay, why is a player who aced a conditioning test, who's dealing with a minor injury that didn't put him on PUP, okay, how quickly is Alex Anzalone going to get out there on the field? It's going to be imperative. You don't want this to be a lingering distraction for the Detroit Lions. But day one for the Detroit Lions saw some very interesting narratives start to form in regards to camp battles. And most notably, Dan Campbell said, all eyes on the offensive line. So that's where our focus has been. And Tate Ratledge will continue to develop. You'll start to see some competitive battles as the camp goes on and the pads get finally put on. But some interesting names are going to start to emerge as players to watch for the Detroit Lions.